Hey, it's Danny from Garage Strength, and today I got a question about how to improve the mental side of competing in the throwing events. Um, this is something that sort of strikes home with me, as when I was a glider, I was really strong mentally. I always knew what I was going to throw, and I always knew how well I was going to throw. With the spin, I'm a little more fragile, and a lot more fragile than I wish I was. But anyway, with that being said, is that the spin, the mental aspects of the spin are a little different than the mental aspects of the glide. Um, so where does that take us? When it comes to throwing, you throw so frequently and so often, at least in my training system, that the throw becomes a mechanical response. So it's not something you think through. It's a reaction. You know, you begin and you throw, and there's little stimulations here and there that you can give, little cues that you can give someone to improve their throws. But for the most part, the throw itself is a chemical reaction, is a stimulated reaction that you can't really think about it, which is the most important part. You have to approach the competitive throws with an open mind, a positive mindset, and a happy mindset, I think, to achieve good results. So how can you go about doing that? There's many different ways. There's nutritional ways to improve your mental aspects of throwing, and there's also rituals that you can do on a daily basis that can get you more comfortable in the throws. And I think, so what we'll go over first is the mental side as far as nutrition is concerned. As far as that's concerned, I generally recommend things like green tea, cod liver oil for a healthy brain, coconut oil for a healthy, stimulated brain, dark chocolate. Probably missing a few things here. Things that have carnitine in it, things that have choline in it, like eggs, steaks, things that can just really get your brain flowing. On top of that, coffee is the number one stimulant and food source that I recommend to really wake your brain up. Vitamin C, pre-competition. So these things are all little nutritional things that athletes can tinker with, in practice, that can then, they can see how they feel in a practice, and if they like how they feel with those nutritional tidbits, then they can then use it in the competition. Now, aside from that, what about if you have somebody who really struggles competitively? They get really nervous, or something goes wrong where the shot slips off their hand. They're warming up great, then the shot slips off their hand, and then they get really frustrated and really pissed, so they slip a little in the circle. If that's the case, I usually recommend someone doing some quiet sitting or meditative things. Things like yoga, sitting in front of a fire, hanging out, and just focusing on themselves. Cut yourself off from all media outlets, so it's just you and your mind, and thinking about how you can improve upon yourself as a human being and as an athlete. And on top of that, those athletes that struggle a little bit in competition, I also recommend in training you should have the occasional practice meets. I like to do that occasionally. I'll just, kids will come in, okay, today's a practice meet. We're going to warm up, we're going to get 6 throws, and you got to approach that with that good intensity. Make sure the kids aren't goofing off, make sure everything's, raring to go. We're in the meet setting, and it's time to get after it. I think it's important, if you are a passive individual, to really gain control over something. And in my own case, lifting weights is something that I find that really helps me mentally. gives me a lot of confidence mentally. Somebody else's case, it might be completely different. I remember reading when I was in college, Lance Steele would go in his own little bubble and, mowing the grass or splitting wood was something that really got him focused mentally. In the '96 Olympics, I remember him saying, in between the prelims and the finals, he went underneath the stadium and was throwing chairs and, throwing trash cans, and people were looking at him like he's from Mars, but he said that was a way for him to gain control over himself and to recognize that he is in control and he could throw far, and he ended up getting second at the Olympics that year in the hammer throw. So as far as, I think that plays a huge role in throwing, is that a lot of people are passive. They can throw well in the circle in practice, but then when it comes to meet, they see someone else hitting some big marks, they get a little tentative, start to think a little bit, and everything shuts down. So it's important to stay in your own mind, stay in your own bubble, stay inside yourself, avoid outside distractions. And if you are distracted, have that place that you can go to. Put some music in, or go away from everyone else, regroup, have a ritual of how to get into the circle. You see Adam Nelson, big time shot putter, he has a ritual to get in. That gets him focused, that gets him tuned into that specific throw. There's always a ritual. So have something along those lines, and that can dramatically improve your competitive throws. So again, the nutritional aspects improve it, the rituals, getting inside your brain and learning how you work, being introspective, and then utilizing that when you're about to compete. Those are the most important parts of improving your competitive throws as far as the mental side is concerned. And that also goes with having those practice meets. And if you have meets in practice where you do, you throw against each other, that gives you time to practice your rituals in a different setting. So I think that is important. Okay, as far as the mental side of training, I'm done with that. I want to just say a shout out. Jason Kuhn, garage strength thrower, hit 56.11 opening meet this weekend. Evan Arnott, 55.6. Big opener, big PR. That's Kuhn's indoor PR, so I'm happy for them. Looking forward to them busting the 60 feet mark in the near future. And on a non-throwing note, one of my Olympic weightlifters, Tanner Reichert, came through, and I wasn't at the meet. I had my own track meet where I was a mental marshmallow, but Tanner was at his meet, focused mentally, was ready, focused on the task at hand. He wanted to qualify for junior nationals as a youth, and a couple things went against him in the warm-up room. He wasn't lifting too well. Went out on the platform, shut everybody off, shut it all off, and got the job done. Only snatched 90K, which isn't close to his PR, but then came and gamed up in the clean and jerk and qualified for junior nationals. So I'm happy for these guys. There's big mental steps along the way, and that's a mental victory for Tanner Reichert. So yeah, happy about those performances. Okay. Any more questions or thoughts, feel free to email me, dane@garagestrength.com. Send me some message on Twitter or Facebook. Okay, thanks a lot.